Outperform men half your age. You put in the years, the consistency, the effort when there was no app telling you to show up. That foundation compounds. The generation with infinite fitness content still can't sustain real effort. No foundation, no tolerance for discomfort. Do these 3 exercises and outperform men half your age. The unilateral movement the machine generation never built. The most mocked exercise and the most honest strength test. The one that separates gym strength from real strength. And the formula that converts all 3 of them into a physical advantage younger men can't buy.
Exercise 3. Lunges. The unilateral strength the machine generation never built. Walk into any commercial gym and watch the younger guys train legs. Leg press, Smith machine squat, leg extension. Every movement bilateral, symmetric, guided by a track or a seat. Nothing demanding real stabilization. Nothing requiring one side of the body to perform independently of the other. The lunge exposes exactly what that training leaves out. Every rep demands that a single leg produces force, absorbs impact, and maintains balance simultaneously, recruiting the glute, quad, hamstring, and every hip and ankle stabilizer in a pattern that no machine replicates. The body can't cheat it, can't redistribute the load to the stronger side, can't use momentum to get through the hard part. For men over 40, the lunge delivers something beyond muscle. It trains the unilateral neuromuscular coordination that declines with age and that research consistently identifies as the primary predictor of stability, posture, and injury prevention into the 50s and 60s. The 25-year-old with a respectable leg press has machine strength. Put him on a lunge with real load, and the instability surfaces immediately in the wobble, in the compensation, in the inability to control the descent on the weaker side. The 45-year-old who has been doing weighted lunges with control has built something the younger man hasn't, and it will take him years to close that gap if he ever decides the machine isn't enough. The next exercise is the most dismissed movement in modern fitness culture. The jokes about it are endless. The men doing it correctly are rare and measurably stronger in ways that matter outside the gym.
Exercise 2. Biceps curl. The chain the selfie generation forgot to build. No exercise gets more ridicule in serious fitness circles than the curl. Ego lift, vanity movement, functionless isolation work for men who care more about the mirror than performance. The narrative is so established that men who should know better skip it entirely and call it discipline. Here's what that narrative misses. The biceps doesn't work in isolation. It's the terminal link of a pulling chain that begins at the forearm, crosses the elbow, and anchors at the scapula. Curl strength is grip strength. Grip strength is pulling capacity. The ability to carry, climb, hold, and sustain effort with the arms under load for extended periods. Grip strength research is unambiguous, is one of the most consistent predictors of longevity and cardiovascular function in men over 40. Not aesthetics, not bench press numbers, the force the hand produces around an object. The younger gym goer doing partial curls between Instagram checks hasn't developed real grip strength. The movement stops short. The supination at the top never completes. The eccentric gets dropped instead of controlled. The man over 40 doing full range curls, complete supination at the top, 3-second eccentric on the way down, no momentum, is building a pulling chain the younger man will feel the absence of the first time real effort demands it. The curl isn't a vanity exercise. It's the movement that the generation chasing aesthetics abandoned and that the man with decades of real training knows was never optional. The last exercise requires no weight, no machine, no gym, and it will expose the difference between strength and sustained strength faster than anything on this list. Want a strong and healthy body? Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button. Exercise 1. Push-ups to failure. The test that doesn't lie. Every man who's been lifting seriously for years has a number in his head. His bench press, his squat, his deadlift. The metrics that define, in his mind, how strong he is. Ask him to drop and do push-ups until he physically cannot do another. Full range, chest to the floor, no half reps, no pausing at the top to recover, and watch what happens. Most men with impressive barbell numbers stop somewhere between 15 and 25. Not because the muscle isn't there, because sustained neuromuscular output under progressive fatigue is a completely different demand than producing maximum force for 3 to 5 reps and resting 3 minutes. The young gym goer who benches heavy has trained one end of the strength spectrum. He has never systematically trained the other. The capacity to maintain recruitment, sustain pattern integrity, and keep producing output when the nervous system is signaling to stop. That capacity doesn't develop from heavy sets with long rest. It develops from going all the way to the edge and staying there until the body makes the decision, not the mind. Push-ups to failure train exactly that. Every rep past the point of comfort is a negotiation between the nervous system trying to shut down and the will refusing to accept the signal. The chest, triceps, anterior deltoid, and core are contracting simultaneously under increasing fatigue, and the body has to maintain the movement pattern while the recruitment signal degrades. That's not a beginner stimulus. That's one of the most demanding neuromuscular challenges available without a single piece of equipment. For men over 45, the hormonal response adds another layer. Extended sets taken to true muscular failure produce a growth hormone release that short, heavy sets don't. The body interprets prolonged maximum effort differently than brief maximum load and responds with a hormonal signal that favors the man willing to stay in the discomfort longer than feels reasonable. The man of 45 who can complete 40 consecutive push-ups with perfect form, chest down, hips neutral, full extension, no rest, has a neuromuscular endurance and sustained output capacity that most men half his age have never tested. Not because they can't build it, because the fitness culture they grew up in never asked for it. The test doesn't care about the weight on the bar. It cares about what happens when the easy option runs out. 3 exercises, each one exposing a gap the younger generation didn't know it had. What converts them into a real, compounding physical advantage is one principle, and it's the one the machine generation refuses to apply.
The formula: progressive overload with no escape route. 3 exercises mean nothing without the principle that converts them into advantage. Most men know progressive overload. Add weight, add reps, add difficulty over time. It's the foundational principle of strength adaptation, documented, proven, non-negotiable. The younger generation has access to it in every app, every program, every YouTube channel dedicated to fitness. They know it. They don't apply it. Not consistently, not uncomfortably, not past the point where it stops feeling like progress and starts feeling like punishment. Here's the pattern. The younger gym goer increases load until it gets hard, then switches exercises. Changes the program when the adaptation slows. Drops weight when the form breaks under fatigue. Stops the set when the discomfort becomes real. Not when the muscle fails, but when the mind decides the effort isn't worth the sensation. Progressive overload without tolerance for sustained discomfort isn't progressive overload. It's progressive comfort management. Applied to these 3 movements, the formula is specific. Lunges with load that increases week over week, not when it feels easy, but on schedule, forcing adaptation before the body is ready to give it willingly. Curls with mandatory full eccentric control on every rep, every set, no exceptions. The discipline that turns a simple movement into a chain-building tool. Push-ups taken to true failure every single time, not to fatigue, not to discomfort, to the point where the next rep is physically impossible with correct form. That last requirement is where most men stop short. Failure feels like losing. The man who reframes it as the only rep that actually counts has understood something the selfie generation hasn't, that the adaptation lives past the edge, not before it. The man over 40 who applies these 3 movements with that standard isn't competing with younger men on their terms. He's operating on a different set of requirements entirely. One's built from years of showing up without an audience, training without a content strategy, and pushing past the point where quitting would have been easier. That's not nostalgia, that's a physical asset. And it's available to every man in this video who decides the formula is worth applying. The ones who don't will keep wondering why the gap between effort and result never closes. What did you think of this video? Drop your honest opinion in the comments. I actually read everything. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, click the subscribe button.